In the dim corridors of history, there are texts that whisper instead of shout, fragments that seem to have survived the erosion of centuries by sheer will, as though guarded by something unseen. Among them, the Emerald Tablet stands as both riddle and revelation, a slab said to be inscribed by Hermes Trismegistus, the mythical union of the Greek Hermes and the Egyptian Thoth. It has been called the seed of alchemy, the key to transmutation, the encoded language of divine intelligence itself. Yet, what if the real power of the tablet was never in the literal pursuit of turning lead into gold, but in the decoding of consciousness, the transformation of perception from density to light? Each of the tablet's sentences, sparse and cryptic, reads like a pulse from another dimension. They do not explain, they evoke. They do not tell you what to think, they show you how to see. It is said that the entire structure of existence, from atom to galaxy, is hidden in those few lines, waiting for a mind capable of resonance rather than reasoning. The 11 sentences are not instructions for manipulation, but invitations to awakening, a manual for remembering what reality truly is before belief or illusion fractured it into separate parts. To approach these words is not to study them like a scholar, but to breathe them in like a mystic. The tablet does not teach, it reflects. It turns the seeker's gaze inward, suggesting that the as above, so below is not only a description of cosmic symmetry, but a reminder that reality mirrors the state of our own consciousness. What is hidden above is concealed within. What we call heaven and earth are not two locations, but two vibrations of the same energy, one seen, one unseen, dancing in a rhythm older than time itself. Imagine for a moment that the universe is a sentence being spoken by a boundless intelligence, and each of us is a word within that sentence. We are not separate from the speech, we are the speech. To understand the 11 sentences of the tablet, then, is to learn the syntax of creation, the way thought crystallizes into matter, the way vibration folds itself into form. These are not poetic metaphors, but scientific realities once known to ancient initiates who understood that matter was music slowed into geometry. The tablet's wisdom is encoded not only in language, but in light. Its emerald surface was said to shimmer with a green that was not of this world, a color symbolizing balance, the alchemical heart where spirit and matter reconcile. Green is the frequency of the heart chakra, the bridge between above and below, intellect and intuition. To read the tablet without this bridge open is to see only symbols. To read it with the heart awakened is to witness the architecture of existence itself. When Hermes spoke of the one thing, he was not referring to a substance, but to a state, the unified field of being from which all opposites emerge. This one thing is what modern science calls the quantum field, what mystics call the divine mind, what the ancients personified as the breath of God moving upon the waters. Everything that exists is a rearrangement of this singular essence, vibrating at infinite frequencies, endlessly creating and dissolving worlds. The tablet's forbidden decoding, therefore, is not about learning something new, it is about remembering what has always been true. And so, we begin where all seekers begin, at the edge of mystery, looking into the emerald glow of a wisdom that refuses to die. The question is not whether the tablet is real, but whether we are ready to read it with the right eyes, to see reality as it truly is, not as we have been taught to perceive it. For those who dare, The 11 sentences become more than words. They become mirrors that dissolve the illusion of separation, showing that what we call reality is nothing less than consciousness playing hide and seek with itself. To understand the Emerald Tablet, one must first recognize that it was never meant to be understood in the way we usually define that word. It is a map written in paradox, a mirror disguised as a message. Every phrase folds in upon itself, concealing multiple layers of meaning within a single vibration. The so-called 11 sentences are not mere lines of text, but gateways, each one unlocking a different chamber of awareness within the human spirit. Taken together, they reveal a pattern that mirrors the structure of the universe itself. The first great theme that emerges from the tablet is unity. Hermes declares that which is below corresponds to that which is above, not as metaphor, but as law. This is the foundational symmetry upon which all alchemy rests. It tells us that every movement in the invisible world has an echo in the visible, that spirit and matter are reflections of one another. What happens in the heavens is not distant from us, it is happening through us. The soul and the stars are woven from the same fabric. In every breath, the cosmos inhales and exhales through the body of humanity. The second theme is transformation, not as destruction, but as refinement. The ancient alchemists who studied the tablet understood that to transmute lead into gold was not about metallurgy, it was about consciousness. Lead is the heaviness of unawakened awareness, the dull gravity of fear and ignorance. Gold is the purified mind, radiant with understanding and compassion. The process of alchemy, then, is not performed in laboratories, but in the crucible of one's own soul. Every challenge, every shadow, every heartbreak is a furnace where the base elements of the self are burned away until light remains. A third principle hidden in the tablet is rhythm, the eternal flow of creation and dissolution. It ascends from earth to heaven, and again descends to earth, Hermes writes, describing a perpetual circulation of energy that sustains all existence. This movement is not linear, but cyclical, like breath, like heartbeat, like seasons. The universe itself is a living organism, pulsing with rise and return, ascent and descent, expansion and contraction. The wise do not resist these oscillations, they learn to move with them. To live in harmony with this rhythm is to awaken from the illusion of control and enter the dance of divine balance. Beneath these themes lies a subtler teaching that knowledge without integration is meaningless. The tablet's forbidden decoding was guarded not because of secrecy alone, but because such knowledge demands purity of intent. To see the machinery of reality is to wield enormous creative power, and power without love corrodes. The ancients feared that if humanity learned to manipulate the underlying patterns of creation without understanding their sacred purpose, the world itself would unravel. So they spoke in riddles, encoded truth in symbols, and buried wisdom beneath metaphor, so that only the sincere would find it.
When Hermes wrote, "Its force is entire if it be converted into earth," he meant that divine knowledge becomes real only when embodied, when the understanding of unity translates into compassionate action, when illumination finds expression in matter. In today's language, it is not enough to meditate upon oneness, one must live it. The alchemist of the modern age is not the recluse bent over flasks of mercury, but the conscious human being transmuting fear into empathy, ignorance into insight, ego into service. And yet, the tablet goes further still. It does not simply describe the laws of reality, it reveals that we are those laws in motion. As above, so below is not a philosophy. It is a statement of identity. You are not within the universe, you are the universe, observing itself through the window of human form. Your thoughts are not private, they are ripples in the field of being. Your words are frequencies shaping the geometry of existence. The Emerald Tablet invites us to remember that the boundary between creator and creation is an illusion born of forgetfulness. Every civilization that touched the tablet tried to interpret it through its own symbols. The Egyptians saw in it the marriage of Ra and earth. The Greeks perceived the harmony of elements. The Arabs called it the wisdom of light. But beneath every translation hums the same vibration. The understanding that reality is not a place, but a process. Not a collection of things, but an unfolding of consciousness. The 11 sentences are not commandments, they are reflections of eternal principles written in the language of paradox, meant to unseat linear thinking and awaken intuitive knowing. Those who gaze deeply into its teachings begin to see that there is no division between spiritual and material, sacred and mundane. The same intelligence that shapes galaxies whispers through the beating of the human heart. The Emerald Tablet teaches that the smallest atom contains the pattern of the cosmos, and that enlightenment is not about ascending away from the world, but realizing that the world itself is the divine made visible. To decode the tablet is to remember that reality is not something happening to you, it is something happening as you. Across centuries, the Emerald Tablet has inspired a lineage of seekers who saw in its few lines an entire cosmology compressed into light. To the uninitiated, it was a puzzle. To the awakened, it was a mirror. The sages who carried its teaching into hidden temples spoke not of decoding it in words, but of living it through symbols, acts that mirrored its cosmic rhythm. They understood that truth too great for speech must be embodied in story. Consider the legend of Hermes himself, the messenger who walked between worlds. He was said to move freely between heaven and earth, between gods and mortals, between the seen and unseen. In one ancient account, Hermes descends into the underworld not to escape it, but to retrieve the fragments of divine memory scattered across matter. Each fragment he gathers becomes a sentence on the tablet, a reflection of a truth that cannot die. This descent and return is the essence of alchemy, spirit diving into density to awaken what sleeps within form, then rising again, luminous with remembrance. In another tale told by Egyptian initiates, Thoth stood before a great emerald altar that pulsed with living green fire. On its surface appeared letters that shifted like stars, rearranging themselves into meaning. As he read, each line unfolded into light, and within that light he saw himself, reflected, not as a man, but as consciousness in motion, the same awareness that spoke through all beings. Know, O seeker, that the tablet is not outside you. You are the stone, and your heart is the script written by eternity. The symbolic narratives surrounding the tablet are less about history than about the architecture of inner transformation. The 11 sentences represent stages of awakening, the slow unraveling of illusion until only essence remains. The first sentences speak of the one thing, the undivided field. The middle verses describe its descent into multiplicity, into worlds of polarity, and the final ones reveal its return to unity, purified and whole. The cycle mirrors the journey of every soul, birth into matter, forgetting, remembering, and ascension. It is the story of God learning itself through the mirrors of experience. In mystical alchemy, the tablet was said to be inscribed not on stone, but on the etheric fabric of reality itself. Each of its sentences vibrates at a specific frequency, resonating with the laws that govern the universe. When initiates meditated upon them, they weren't simply reading, they were aligning their own energy field to those cosmic harmonics. The decoding was not intellectual, it was vibrational. To know the tablet was to become the tablet. Imagine a river reflecting the sky above it. When the surface is still, the reflection is perfect, heaven mirrored on earth. When the water is disturbed, the image shatters and the connection appears lost. This is the human condition. Consciousness rippled by fear, desire, and forgetfulness, unable to see its own reflection. The tablet's teaching is the stilling of that water. Through the alignment of inner and outer, above and below, the reflection becomes clear again, and the seeker remembers that what shines above the water has always been shining within it. The symbolism deepens when we consider the alchemical marriage, often described as the union of sun and moon, sulfur and mercury, king and queen. In truth, it is the reconciliation of opposites within the self. The masculine principle of focused will merges with the feminine principle of intuitive flow, producing the child of the philosophers, the awakened consciousness that sees through duality. The 11 sentences form the sacred geometry of this union, encoding how polarity dissolves into oneness. Many traditions echo this hidden story. The Gnostics spoke of Sophia, divine wisdom who fell into matter to bring light into the darkness. But Hermeticists spoke of the prima materia, the raw essence of all things, waiting to be realized as divine. The Sufis spoke of polishing the heart until it reflects the beloved without distortion. Each of these is a verse in the same universal song. The Emerald Tablet does not belong to a single culture or religion. It belongs to the human spirit's eternal yearning to remember its origin. Those who decoded its secrets learned that the path to enlightenment is not an ascent, but a circle. We rise only to descend. We awaken only to serve. We find the divine not by escaping the world, but by sanctifying it. When Hermes says, "It ascends from earth to heaven and again descends to earth," he is describing not a journey through space, but a movement of consciousness. Awareness rising into unity, then returning to express that unity through creation. Heaven is not a destination, but a frequency of perception. And so, the deeper symbolic narrative of the tablet is the story of return. Every life, every challenge, every loss is a fragment of the great descent. Spirit experiencing limitation so that it may remember its infinite nature. The forbidden decoding lies not in discovering hidden codes within the sentences, but in becoming the sentences themselves, in realizing that the words of Hermes were written in the architecture of your own being. To awaken is to remember that the same fire that forged stars burns quietly in the human heart, waiting to be recognized as divine.
The wisdom of the Emerald Tablet, while cosmic in scope, is not a distant or theoretical truth. It is a living guide meant to shape the way we inhabit our daily lives. The decoding of its 11 sentences is not about collecting knowledge as a trophy, but about shifting perception, aligning action with principle, and learning to see the unseen patterns that run through every interaction. To embody the tablet is to recognize that every moment is an opportunity to move in harmony with the hidden currents that animate reality. Consider the first lesson of unity. When we understand that as above, so below, it transforms the mundane into the sacred. A simple act like tending a garden or speaking a kind word is not trivial. It is a reflection of cosmic law in motion. The forces that shape galaxies also shape relationships, decisions, and inner thought. By treating each action as part of a living, conscious system, one cultivates not just mindfulness, but mastery over one's own contribution to the unfolding of the universe. In this sense, ethics and awareness are not moral obligations, they are the natural alignment of self with the mechanics of creation. Transformation, the second theme, manifests in daily life as the art of alchemical self-refinement. Every challenge presents a leaden moment, a dense vibration that can either weigh us down or be transmuted into golden insight. Facing fear, embracing discomfort, and moving beyond habitual reaction are all forms of inner alchemy. The tablet teaches that nothing outside can change the world without first changing the self. The more fully we refine our perception, the more the external world responds in kind. The sentences become not abstract wisdom, but practical instruction for living with clarity and purpose. The cyclical nature of existence, described in the ascent and descent of energies, offers guidance on how to flow with life rather than resist it. There are periods of growth and contraction, inspiration and reflection, expansion and rest. To ignore these rhythms is to fight against reality itself, creating frustration and stagnation. Observing them, however, allows us to act in harmony with the invisible tides. Timing, patience, and awareness become as critical as effort and intention. One begins to recognize that setbacks are not failures, but necessary currents in the river of evolution. The tablet also reminds us that knowledge without embodiment is incomplete. Meditating on principles is insufficient unless those truths are expressed in conduct, decision, and engagement with the world. Compassion, courage, and creativity become the physical manifestations of metaphysical insight. We begin to see our thoughts and words not merely as private events, but as forces shaping collective reality. By acting consciously, by cultivating attention and deliberate presence, the 11 sentences cease to be distant mysteries and become practical tools for navigating life with grace and influence. Even the concept of polarity, the reconciliation of opposites, has real-world significance. By integrating shadow and light, intuition and reason, desire and restraint, we cultivate inner balance. Conflict becomes a teacher, not an enemy. Contrast becomes a lens revealing deeper truth. The tablet instructs that the work of alchemy is never external alone. It is the subtle harmonization of inner forces. Relationships, career, and creative expression all reflect this inner alignment. When inner contradictions are resolved, outer outcomes naturally align with intention. Perhaps the most profound implication is realizing that reality itself is participatory. Consciousness is not a spectator, but a creator. The words of Hermes urge us to observe the impact of our perception, attitude, and energy, for these are the instruments through which the universe orchestrates form. Every choice is a note in a cosmic symphony, every insight a ripple in the field of existence. To live according to the tablet is to cultivate awareness of this creative power, to recognize the sacredness of responsibility, and to wield influence not as domination, but as co-creation with the unseen forces that shape existence. Thus, the practical integration of the tablet's teaching is both subtle and profound. It begins with attention, watching the mind, observing the patterns of thought, feeling the heartbeat of the present. It unfolds in courage, transforming fear into insight, inertia into action, ignorance into curiosity. It matures in service, aligning one's choices with the invisible law, bringing light into situations that might otherwise remain dark. When embodied in this way, the forbidden decoding is no longer hidden. It manifests in every decision, every encounter, and every moment of life, revealing the true depth and beauty of reality itself. As we arrive at the close of this journey through the Emerald Tablet's forbidden decoding, it becomes clear that the 11 sentences are far more than words on stone. They are living currents of consciousness, waiting to be recognized and enacted. To read them superficially is to glimpse only shadows. To integrate them fully is to awaken to the architecture of reality itself. The tablet's wisdom is an invitation to remember that the universe does not happen to us, but through us. That the same intelligence that shapes galaxies courses quietly through our veins and breathes with the rhythm of our hearts. The transformative power of this teaching lies not in accumulation of knowledge, but in alignment. Each sentence, each principle is a vibration that resonates with the inner landscape, a harmonic key that unlocks doors we did not know existed. By attuning to these vibrations, we begin to perceive patterns where before there was chaos, to act with intention where before there was reaction, and to see unity where before there was separation. We realize that the cosmos is not distant or alien. It is the mirror of our consciousness, and the mirror responds to the quality of our vision. It is here, in the stillness of reflection, that the ultimate message of the tablet is revealed. Transformation is a continuous cycle of remembering, embodying, and expressing. As the energy of each sentence flows into the consciousness of the seeker, the base elements of the self, fears, attachments, illusions, are transmuted into clarity, compassion, and creativity. The journey of the alchemist becomes synonymous with the journey of life, the descent into matter, the confrontation with shadow, and the return to light. Through this cycle, the forbidden decoding becomes not a secret hidden from the world, but a living truth lived within it. To those who listen deeply, the tablet whispers that mastery is not the domination of external forces, but the harmonization of internal ones. The unseen currents that govern reality are reflected in every decision, every word, and every thought. When the seeker aligns with these currents, life itself becomes a teacher and an ally. The Emerald Tablet teaches that even the smallest act, when performed with awareness and intent, resonates outward like ripples across the pond of existence, subtly shaping the fabric of reality in accordance with the law of unity. The call of the tablet is both personal and universal. It invites introspection and action in equal measure. It asks us to witness the divine in ourselves and in every aspect of the world, to remember that our consciousness is a bridge connecting the seen and the unseen. It challenges us to live as if reality is alive, not merely observed, but co-created with intention, love, and clarity. The journey through its 11 sentences is a journey into the essence of being, a recognition that we are both the stone and the sculptor, both the text and the reader, both the question and the answer. As you move forward, carry this awareness into the ordinary and extraordinary alike. Let the principles of unity, transformation, rhythm, embodiment, and integration inform each choice and perception. Remember that the hidden is revealed not by chasing it, but by becoming it, and that the sacred language of the universe is already vibrating within you. The Emerald Tablet is not merely a relic of the past. It is a guide for the present, a mirror for the awakening, and a key to the future. Through its forbidden decoding, we are invited to step into our own power, to witness reality as it truly is, and to participate consciously in the magnificent unfolding of existence. The journey is complete, yet it is only the beginning. The tablet's light remains alive within you, awaiting the next breath, the next thought, the next conscious act. In embracing it, you do not merely learn about the universe, you remember your own divinity, your own role as co-creator, your own infinite potential. As the light of the Emerald Tablet continues to awaken hidden
corridors within your consciousness, remember that the power to decode reality lies not in the world around you, but within your own mind and heart. Carry these truths into your daily life.
Let them ripple through your thoughts, words, and actions, and watch as the unseen patterns of existence begin to reveal themselves. Please help our channel grow and spread the message by like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Don't forget to drop a comment for our next video, sharing your insights, experiences, or the questions the tablet has sparked in your soul. Every act of engagement is a spark in the universal light we are learning to embody together. Thank you for watching.